Hello Deswik users, today we're going to be going over ring selection for a sub-level cave. The first step to do this is to create a master ring set. So over here, let me show you what I have for my task solids. So this is the final product right here. We're gonna be deciding where to put all of these rings. The first step, like I said, is to make a master ring set. The master ring set has to extend past what you want, and that way we can turn them on and off, and we can say, okay, these ones out here we're going to turn off, these ones in here we're going to turn on. So let's create the master ring set. Right here I have my center lines from the final design there. I'm just going to go and create an interactive filter, and I have the activity type up here. I'm going to say draw point rings. So these are my draw point rings right here. I'm just going to take these and extend them, let's say 50 meters into the hanging wall, 50 meters into the foot wall. So to do that, I'm going to, let's just create a new one here. Add, we'll call it 09 master ring set. Now in here, we're going to add a new one called center lines. There it is. And then you just take all these and you copy them to this layer. Modify, copy to selected layer. We're going to append the attributes. Isolate this. Now the top level is set in stone and we're not going to be moving that one. So I'm just going to delete this top layer. And the other thing to note about this deposit is the top, this level I believe is a 20 meter level increment, level spacing, and then below that it goes to 25. Let's just make sure that is true. So right here we have, what am I looking for? Z, yeah, 25 right there. Oh, maybe they're all, oh no, what it is, that's 25. What it is this level up is 20. So if we come back to the task solids, see how this level is a little bit shorter than these other levels? It's the top level right here. So that means there's a different profile, tunnel section for those. But here we are, we got our master ring set layer, we added all the center lines, and now all we're going to do is click all these and say modify polylines, extend by distance. We're going to say 50 meters from the start and from the end, and we don't need to preserve the points. Okay. So there's our center lines, and if you have a better way of doing this, by all means go for it. When I first started out, I just made a big box, and put all the lines in there and extended them, but essentially you just need all of the center lines organized how you would like them, and extended them. So the next thing is to make the solids. So you take all of these and you say draw tunnels by rules, and make sure you got your master ring selection here, and the attribute is profile. Build the list, and I've got 2 profiles. These I've already attributed because they were from my center lines. these are the values that are on the center line. So if I click on one of these center lines, it will either say N or an L. So N is a 33 meter tall and L is an 18 meter tall. And so if you go to the sections, I've already got these created. So I just type in N, I have my 33, and then I type in my L, and I'll show you where to do this as well. Now this right here, this segment is very important. This is the burden spacing for the rings. So I'm going to say 3 meters for both of these. You could do 3 meters is kind of the standard. You could do 2.8 if you wanted to. And then the output is going to create solids and walls. I don't really need the walls, I just need the solids. So I'm going to hit OK. And it's going to go through and create the solids. And I'll have my master ring set. So there's a couple things there that you need to be aware of. One is attributing the center lines with the correct profile. And the second thing is creating the section profiles in draw tunnel sections. And I'll show you both of those. So it created this new solid layer right here. And there it is. There's our master ring set. Now we're missing a few. No, we're good. But you may want to add some more out here. You may want to add some more out here in this area. Add some more out here. Wherever you put those center lines, that's where it's going to draw these. So I wanted to show you two things. When you click on one of these center lines, you come into the attributes, you look for profile, right there, N ring width is 15, height is 30. It doesn't really matter what you name it here, just as long as you're consistent and you understand what it is. So this is a ring that's going to be 15 meters wide, W is for wide, and H is for height, 33 meters. When you click on this one, it's only 18 meters tall. And then you come into here, draw tunnels sections, and here are all the profiles already made. So if you look at the ends, right here has the same name. To create one of these, it's really simple, just add this in. But there's your rings, those are the solids that it will draw. And here's the L's. So that's how that tool works. So let's go back to this. I just wanted to show you that it made all the rings and they should be 3 meters in length because that's what our burden is. Yep, 3 meters right there. So the next step, we need to interrogate all of the solids. So we can isolate these, you can select them all. For this demonstration, I'm just going to do 2 levels because it will speed things up in this video. And once you do 2 levels, you'll understand how to do all of the levels. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new interactive filter on the solids. And then I'm going to find level. And we're just going to take a level out of the middle. Maybe these 2 levels are the 2 we'll keep, 560, 535. All the other levels we're just going to delete. Okay, it'll speed things up. So there we go. It's a lot smaller now. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to chop this down and take the items out of the middle. I just want these rings in the middle. There we go. Just for this example, just for this video tutorial, I'm gonna do just these small ones just so my computer will run faster when I do the interrogation. If you know how to do these, just apply the same principle to the whole mine, and you'll be able to do the whole mine. The next thing to note is if you look at this, they're not cut. These rings need to be cut. Can you see that? These rings right here should have a V shape on top because they're cut by these rings. So that's the next thing that we're going to do, is we're going to use these rings to cut these rings. And how we're going to do that is we're going to make a new one here called union by level. So what we do is we select both levels, and you go to modify attributes, modify solids, Boolean operation, union on attribute. And you want to pick on the grouping is level. We don't need to expand these. We could expand them just ever so slightly. Yeah, let's do a small expansion just so they get in there. It expands them a little bit so there's the walls will join all together. And since I have so many, it may take a little while to run this. But what we're doing is we're creating two new solids. One will be called the 560, one will be called the 535. If you look up here in my interactive filter, I have a bunch of rings. There's 2,432. It's taking those and it's doing a Boolean operation to union those together. So that's done. Now we isolate this. Now there's just there's two solids there. And what we need to do is let's just color these a little different color. I'm gonna color them red. I'm gonna make them transparent. Now when you bring up these ones, and we're just gonna cut these bottom ones. So really, yeah, we need to, let's make another interactive filter, and we'll do a level, just so you can see. We have the 560, 535, and there's only one in there, so that's good. We're gonna take the 560 on these red ones, and we're gonna chop the 535 ones on the blue ones. Okay, so we're going to select all of these and then unselect that. So now I think what the best option here is to go we're gonna make a new layer, and we're gonna call it cut. So these are going to be the cut ones right here, and we're going to come in here, modify solids Boolean operation. We're going to cut the rest. Okay, so when you come down here, right over my picture here, it says select solids to cut with. That's this one. Select solids to cut. That's all of these. And we're going to put it on this selected layer, the cut layer. That's the one I have selected. And we're just going to hit OK. And it's going to go through and chop all of these solids. And there's 2,381 of them. So it's going to take a few minutes. While this is running, I'm going to go through some of the other steps that the next couple steps we're going to make. We need to interrogate the solid. So right now, there are no tons, grade, or ounces, or costs associated to all these solids. So if I click on them, they're not going to have those values. So we're going to run a batch interrogation. And with that batch interrogation, it will interrogate the block model and tell me how many tons and grade and ounces are in each of these rings. From that, we can assign a gold price and a cost per ton. So we'll be able to, in the end, we'll be able to click on each of those rings, and it will say, okay, all the gold, all the value in one of these rings is, $100,000. And then it will say the cost of that is $50,000. And so that ring has a value of 100,000 minus the 50,000. So we would have a value of $50,000. And then from there, we can start picking which ones we want on and which ones we want off. The other thing I would mention is if you don't want to do these detailed rings, you could do boxes. For the first pass, I usually just do boxes. But if you are at a stage where you need more detail, you're producing mine, then you probably want to get more detailed. If it's green fields and you just want a rough idea, the boxes are sufficient. But if you're further down the feasibility progress, you're going to want to do this with detailed rings. There we go. So now if we isolate this layer right here, now you see how those are cut? And they have all the rings here and they're nice and cut with the other ones. These ones here at the front did not get cut. So I'm just going to delete those ones. We have some slack. We did 50 meters. So these kind of odd shaped ones, I'm just going to get rid of. There we go. And then let's see if there's a faster way to do this. Interactive filter. Let's see if there's a tunnel number. Okay, so that has the tunnel number, and then the ring number. Ring number probably doesn't have the ring. Oh, that's most of them right there. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of those. And then I'm going to get rid of these. And there's just one or two at the end that we could probably get rid of. You could just go through here and just delete them like this. This is easy enough. If you're doing the whole mine, there's probably a better way to do this. You're probably going to want to name all of them in a ring. I'll show you how to do that. Name them all first with the ring ID, and then from there you can easily pick which ones you want to get rid of. But these ones right here are not a nice shape. There we go. Those are all nice and cut. Now the problem is we don't have the upper level. So to get the upper level, just bring this on, create an interactive filter. We want the top level, which is the 560. Take all these and go modify, copy to selected layers. Okay. Isolate. Okay, so now we have 2 layers, and the bottom layer should be nice and cut. Let's make sure that's true. The level here. Oh, whoops, we have to refresh it. Oh, so what happened is when they're all named level 560, because when it cut it, it took the attribute from the one it cut. And so to easily fix that, just come like this. I believe we were calling this 535. That would put it at 4. Yeah, 535. So we want to go in here to level 535. Update that. There we go. Now let's update these ring numbers. So how we can do that is I'm thinking, yeah, just have out here, I'm gonna get, well, I want to make sure the tunnel number is correct. So let's get rid of the ring number really quick and just make sure the tunnel numbers are all the same. So the tunnel number here is incorrect. See, these tunnel numbers are correct. I might even look at this tunnel number engineering because it should start on one side and go to the other. So that's important to have those tunnel numbers. You can see level 535 is not, it's not proper. There we go. It goes like that from 515 to 535. This one should do the same, but it's not. So you could just go through and select each one of those and apply it. and I might do that. So just select this and go into tunnel number, engineering. This one should be 516. See that? So you have 515, 516. The next one should be 517. You could go through there and do that, but there is a faster way, and it's with the grids. So on the grids, there we go. The grids are right here, and they should, I have it set up where it should name the tunnels and the ring numbers. So let's just try that. Go to modify attributes using set from Polygon grid, and I have a top and a bottom here. These are the two that we want, but we're gonna have to change. See, it has a tunnel number engineering, and we could also do the ring number on there too. Let's just try that. And yep, that all looks good. The only thing we have to change is this right here. So come into this one, do select none, select that one. So that's where we want to apply it. All four of those. And let's hit OK. So I'm using these grids to populate the tunnel number and the ring number. So now, yeah, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That one goes all the way through. Then we got 15, 16, 17. Yep, that one goes all the way through. So the tunnel numbers are working correctly. Now let's see if it did the same with the ring numbers. No, the ring numbers are not correct at all. But the ring numbers are pretty easy to set. So what I recommend, let me just see if there's another ring number. Ring number engineering. Let's see if that one works. There we go. That one worked. There we go. We're going to use ring number engineering. See, it starts on the one side and goes all the way through to the other side. We could even do the level first. So that looks really good. Make sure there's something here that you're probably going to want to fix. Right here. You see that? These rings didn't get assigned those values. And what this could be a cause of is, see how these aren't lining up perfectly? These two right here, there should be a nice straight line lining those two up. And to do that, you're just going to have to make sure the center lines are lined up. For this, I don't really care. It works fine. But you may want to make sure all of your center lines are starting and ending at the same spot. And the other thing is, the burden, we did 3 meters, and so you probably want the length of the center lines in an increment of 3 meters. That way it creates the same number uniform. But for this is close enough, I think, for what we need. And I think you get the idea. We need to have some solids. We need to be able to organize them in tunnels and in rings. For each one of these this is the rings, and then each one of these is a different tunnel number, and now we can interrogate them. So I'm going to get rid of that and just have the levels. There we go. So select them all, go tools, interrogate, batch interrogation. we're gonna make sure we got the right block model there. And we don't need anything here in the legend. Fields to interrogate, we want gold, AU res. And then I just want to make sure that's right. Yep, okay. And in the output, we do not need a CSV for this. You could if you wanted one. But the main thing is I'm going to do create a new ID field, BI for batch interrogation, add results to the graphics. This is the important one right here. And we're going to put it in a group called BI. We're going to run that interrogation. And that will give us tons graded ounces for each ring. After we get done with this, then we're going to calculate value, costs, gross revenue, net revenue. So gross revenue is your ounces multiplied by your gold price. Net revenue is your gross revenue minus your costs. I'm looking at it on my other screen here. I've got the equations right here. Your costs are your tons times by your cost per ton. Your gross revenue is your ounces times by your gold price. Your net revenue is your gross revenue minus your costs. So this is really what we want, is our net revenue. For our costs, we're going to be using a generic number of, let's say, $100 per ton. That's fairly easy. The proper way to do this is do an economic model and figure out what your cost per ton is. But for this demonstration, I'm going to assume you know what your cost per ton is. And we're just going to use a simplified $100 per ton. And for the gold price, we're going to use, let's use today's value. I'm going to look it up and see what the gold price is today. $1,777. That's the gold price today, $1,777. Now with the gold price, it depends on what you're doing. Sometimes you're doing a sensitivity analysis and you'll have 4 different gold prices. Sometimes it'll be dictated by corporate headquarters. Sometimes you'll just use a 3-year rolling average. You'll take the average for each month and average those all together into a big average for the past 3 years, and that's what you'll use. Just kind of depends on what you're doing. For this example, I'm just gonna use $1,700 because that's what today's gold price is about. Okay, successfully interrogated figures. Okay, so now we should be able to click on one of these, and it should tell, there we go, BI. We have our grade here. We have our density. We have our volume. The tons are not there. It's probably because it's in grouped in one of these other ones. Here it is, tons. And you can check this by simply taking the volume, this number, multiplying it by the density. I believe it should give you tons. Let's try that. 1124.636 multiplied by the density, which is 2.8119. We got 3162. Yep. There's some rounding things because it uses 10 decimal places, and we did not, but that gives us an idea if it's right. And let's see, the next thing you can do is you can color this by grade, and let's see if that works. I have several different here. I don't know which one's gonna work. There we go. So now you can see where the high grade is. So these ones should have a high grade value. 7 grams per ton. That looks really good. 6 grams per ton. So those ones are going to have a high value. So the next thing, like I said, is we're going to calculate the value. So to do that, we go to Modify Attributes using Formula. It has this little icon here. And I have one here called dollars. But I'm just going to make a new one from fresh. And I'm going to call it value. And we're just going to delete all these, just so you can see how this works. So in the attributes, we're going to call it cost. In the grouping, what this grouping means is what are these little groups that you want to put it in here. I'm going to make one called 12 value. That way it'll put it right below this one, make a new group. And this on this I'm going to say tons times by cost per ton. And you come into the formula here and you say you want your tons and you want to multiply by $100 per ton. Now if you wanted to, you come into this global constants and create one, but for this I'm just gonna say 100 and then make a new one and make sure you hit this perform calculations in grid order. That way it's going to do cost, it's going to do gross revenue, and then net revenue. So gross revenue, hit enter. Make sure these are doubles. We're going to copy that 12 and we're going to put in here ounces times by gold price. And so now that's the other thing, we don't have ounces. When we do the batch interrogation, it just gives you grade. So we're going to have to calculate the ounces. So what you do is you take your tons. I'm going to wrap these in parentheses. Tons times by your AU res. That will give us grams. And then you want to divide by 31.1034. Whatever, that converts grams to tons. And so, grams to ounces. So now we're in ounces, and we're going to multiply that by 1700, our gold price. Okay, and then we're going to do one more, and we're going to call this net revenue. And on this one, we're going to say gross revenue minus costs. There we go. And on here, we're going to say gross revenue minus our cost. There we go. Now there's one more thing I want to do, and it's called rounding. We could round each one of these, but I think I'm going to just round it at the end right here. So what I like to do is just select all this and hit cut, Control X, come in here and write round, paste it in right there, and decimal place is 2. That way we get a nice, $1,000.05 or whatever it is. We don't need all the decimal places. And we could do that for all of these. Yeah, this looks good. And make sure you're performing calculations in grid order. That means it starts right here with cost, then calculates gross revenue, then calculates net revenue. It cannot calculate net revenue unless these two are calculated. Therefore, we need to make sure this is checked. And we want to do it on the selected layer. There's 1,671 items. Hit OK. And now we'll see a 12 show up right here. We have costs, we have gross revenue, we have net revenue. Now you'll see this is a negative number. Therefore, it's losing money. We don't want to mine this one. It's losing money. These ones right here, they're making money. See that? These are how much money we'll make if we mine these ones. Okay, so that is good. We could color code these by revenue. I think that'd be a good thing to do. Let's go over that briefly if you need to know how to make a legend. I'm going to add a new one. I'm going to call it net revenue. Net revenue right there. I'm just going to delete all of these. And we want range bins. So value bins are like, is it A, B, or C? Range bin is it between $100 and $200? Is it between $200 and $300? So So here, we're going to look up net revenue, selected rings. So my minimum is negative right here. So, and here's the maximum. So if you just do this with the bin site, but I don't typically like doing that. So let's just say negative 500,000, and then the maximum, ooh, that's 1.3 million. So let's just say, yeah, let's go $1 million. Make sure I did that right. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's $1 million. So negative $500,000, positive $1 million. Bin size, 100,000. I mean, that's 15 bins. Okay, let's try that. So now the other thing you want to do here is on this one, you don't want it to go just to 1 million. You want it to be, add a few more zeros there so it catches everything. And then same thing with the negative, add a bunch more. And the other thing I like to do is on this bottom one, just give it a nice gray color. That way I know to stay away from those. And looks like we're good. Hit OK. I don't know if it's applying it. Sometimes you just gotta sit and wait. There we go. Now come in here, write net revenue. There we go. So you can see on this, there we go. There's a few gray ones here. So it looks like most of our meat is going to be right here. There's kind of a thin spot right through here, and then a thick spot. Okay. Oh. Oh, those ones are cut, that's why. Okay. So we got our value for each ring. What is our next step? We did the grid numbering, so we have tunnels. Like I said, tunnels are going this way. So we have tunnel 1, 2, 3, 4. Rings are going this way, so it says ring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are important. We made some legends. We need to create an on-off switch. So to do that, you just come over here and right click and hit attributes. We have a bunch of stuff in here and I don't think we need all of it. We could simplify it. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Let's just add another one in here at the bottom. We're gonna call this our switch. It's gonna be an integer, and default value is going to be a 1. Sure. And we're not gonna put it in a group. Well, let's put it in the value group. I like that idea. And yeah, okay. So now we should be able to click all of these and give them a switch of 1. So now it's either going to be 1 or 0. So that's going to be, we should be able to turn them to 1 or 0s. Let's just turn it on right here. Switch. There we go. We have our switch. They're all turned to 1. And we could, if we wanted to, we can just change them to 0s. So the next thing is we're going to create a dashboard. This is the fun part. So now you're going to come into Tools, Query, Dashboards. And you'll have this screen. Yours might be blank. We're going to start from a blank one right here. I'm going to make a new one. This name, you can name it whatever you want. We're going to call this test ring selection. And the layer is the layer that we're doing, this cut layer. Oh, whoops, there's two layers selected there. You always want to make sure you hit select none and then the one you want, because it had two there. And we don't need to worry about the bitmap export. So now you should be able to hit OK. And yours will probably be blank when you first start it out. And I'm just gonna delete everything and start fresh so you can see what it looks like. So delete this, delete, delete, delete. This is what yours will look like. I'm gonna save that. It's refreshing, so give it a second. There we go. So this is what it should look like if you're starting from scratch. It'll have the test ring selection from that last window we just typed in. And we're going to hit this edit button right here. It'll bring up the dashboard designer. So how this works is this is what your dashboard looks like, and these are the tools and levers that you can pull. And we're going to make a simple one. We're going to call it, we're going to use this grid. Just click it once. And the columns that we want the level. These ones you can drag and drop. So it'll have a level there. And then we want the switch that we made. I have to find the switch wherever it's at. So how these are organized is, see how it says AB? That means it's a string value. And then you come down here and then it has the 1, 2, 3, and that means it's an integer or decimal or double. And we did, oh, and it has 1, 2, 3 and 1.2. So the 1.2s are doubles. The 1, 2, 3s are integers. So the switch we made in an integer, so it's in 1, 2, 3. So we have the levels, we have the switches, and they're all ones, and then we want net revenue. Net revenue is a double, so it's going to be in this list. So and then it's just alphabetized. Net revenue. Boom. There we go. So there's a problem here. It's summing up all of the levels. So right now it's saying, oh, you have a level called 650, and it's adding up all those 650s. And same thing with the switch. We either want to say 1 or 0. On this, we want to list out the levels. So see how it says sum here? The net revenue, we do want it to sum, but the levels, we do not. So let's see what we have here in this little drop down. We could do yeah, this is what we want here. Instead of doing this drop down right here, those will give you the sum, min, max, average, count. We don't want that. We want to click on this little summation button and just do a dimension. Hit apply, And you see how it changed that from summing up all the 560s and the 535s. It just lists them now. And same thing with the switch. Click on this button, change it to dimension, hit apply, and now it just says ones. If we had some zeros in there, it would populate those two. So you can see these are summations, these are dimensions. The net revenue, we wanted to sum it up. Now you'll see here it says 20 million with a capital M. If you don't like that, and I don't like that, I want to do something else. You come to this format and it just says auto. I want to do a currency. Use standard settings. Let's see what this is. There we go. US dollars. Culture. Oh boy. What is this? United States. Okay. Include group separators. I don't like how it says B with a billion. I would rather it just do, but you can play around with this. You can there we go. That's a general number, a number, ones. There we go. Has the commas in there, precisions. So this is what I typically like right here. So I can see what it is. But if you like the currency one, whatever one you like, you can do. This way I can see, you know, it doesn't, the commas all line up. And that's pretty much what we need right there. There's one other thing I want to show you, and that is a filter. So I'm going to try this list box right here, and I want this on the other side. I like it over here. And this is going to be a filter, and I'm going to put in here, make sure this is highlighted. I'm just going to grab my switch and put it in there. That way, if I just want to see the ones, I can have the ones. If I just want to see the zeros, I can have the zeros. So that looks good. Let's save that, close it down, and you might have to hit this refresh button. I think it does it automatically. It's thinking about it. There it goes. So there's a refresh button here. You can hit the refresh. It goes through, grabs this layer, looks at all of our rings, figures out which level they're on, what the switches are, and adds up all the values. There we go. So I'm gonna just make this a lot smaller so I can see. There we go. Let me make this a little bit bigger. You have a nice little box right here. Now, these ones with higher grade, I'm going to turn those on. So what we're going to do is come down here to AURes. Definitely anything over, let's say 3 or 4. Right here. We're going to turn all these on. Switch is 1. Oh boy. I'm going to turn the switch to 2. And then turn off this grade. So I have 2s and then I have 1s. I want the 1s to be 0s. So let's turn those to 0s. And then let's turn the 2s to 1s. Okay, so now I have the ones that are low grade are off, the ones that are high grade are on. So now let's look at our little thing here. Right now we're making 20 million on this top level and they're all turned on. Let's hit the refresh button and it will populate the 1s and the 0s, and it will also put in 1s and 0s over there. There we go. And you can click on this and it will sort these. So I'm going to sort by the level first, so the 560s on top, and then I have my ones. Now I'm making 151 million. Okay, and our zeros are negative. That's good. So the next thing to do is, you see this, we're not going to take that ring unless we take all of these rings. And same here, we're not going to take, see this one, you only have to take one of these waste ones and then you get the good ones. So there's one thing I can already tell, and it's this net revenue. I need to be very clear on which ones are negative and which ones are positive. So on these negative ones, I'm going to color these greens and blues. So we're going to have maybe like these 3 greens right here. So hold on, that says 80. I'm looking at this number, 80. 81. This is going to be 82. And then maybe this one we'll keep it a nice blue color so we know to stay away from that. And then on anything that makes money, we want them to be red. So maybe, how should we do this? We could come over to one of these. Let's go like this. Let's go tools, color fill. We're gonna do from this one to that one. Hit OK. We're gonna do a rainbow. Okay, but you see how those are not quite the colors I want. I want like all reds. So let's try that again. And let's do 2 colors. We're gonna start with maybe like a yellow. I'm gonna end with like a, there we go. Yellow. Oh, let's do a red to a pink. I think that would be better. Two colors. We're gonna go from like a light red to a dark pink. There we go. So now I can see really well the greens I want to stay away from. Greens and blues stay away from. The pinks I want to go for. So those are all pinks. So you can see right here, there's still some tasks here that are that I could add that would make money. So we're just looking at the 560 level, okay? So first off, these ones right here, this is just impossible. We can't get those. And the other thing is the geometry rules. So on the hanging wall side, you want this side nice and smooth. No bump outs like this. Okay, you probably could do one right there. Step in one, same here. Step down one, step down one, step down one, step down one. There we go, that looks good. So turn those off. We're gonna turn the switch to zeros. Oops, I did that one wrong right there. It's okay, if you make a mistake, just go back and fix it. There we go. See how that hanging wall is nice and smooth? There's only one step. And the footwall is right there. So let's refresh it and see. We're probably lost money because this 151 is probably going to go down. Yep. Oh. It didn't sort them. So you see how it's not sorting them properly? We have to sort these every time. And the other thing that is frustrating this, that's making this go slow, is all of these attributes that we have on here. So if we want to speed this up, we can get rid of some of these attributes. and I believe that will speed it up. But you can see that went down. We have 191. So what we're trying to do is just maximize this number. And the other thing we can do is if we don't want to see the zeros, we can just uncheck that, and then we don't get any zeros in there. So that 191, we want that to be the maximum value possible. So what I like to do is I pull up the zeros on the 560 level, and I look and I say, oh, these ones are pink. They'll make money, and they're right next to where we need. So I'm just gonna go through and select all these. Those ones are easy. Now this one right here, see there's a little test that we can do to test that, but we're not gonna do that yet. We're not gonna test that one yet. Same with this one. This is gonna be an easy test. And there's a bunch here. See all those? All of those we're gonna turn on. See, there's a test here. We could take all of these, and we're gonna have to test if it's worth taking the waste to get to these ores. So same here, there's a test right there. But this side, we need to be cautious because we gotta have it smooth. So first off, that's smooth right there. We could take these and still be smooth. On these ones, we have to be a little more careful. I'm just stepping one step at a time. All those we can take. Probably not do that one. I want it nice and smooth. The smoother that is, the better. Turn those on. So that looks good. So the first thing I want to test is like all of these. It looks like we could probably take those and make money. So I'm going to refresh that. It has to pump through a lot of that data and populate everything. And I'm wondering if I should get rid of that or not. It's okay. So now we got 119. 119. So, we need to make sure we're looking at the 560. 154. So we're looking at the 560, 154. You see how I have to sort this every time I hit refresh? There's a way we can come into here and we can say, look, I want this to be sorted. Add totals, no. I think if you just sort it in here where the 560 is at the top, and the other thing we can do is we can click on this one and say, maybe it's right here. Yeah, here we go. Add a filter. So instead of clicking a right click on this, you come to the very top, right click on this, hit edit filter, comes up with this. Oh, whoops. Edit filters. We want to add a new one, and we're going to switch this level to the switch, enter a value, and we just want to see the ones. And you hit switch equals 1, hit apply. Okay, so now only the ones are going to come up. And then let's sort this and see if that sorting stays. So now we're going to save this, close it. That refresh time is long. I'm gonna get rid of that. So all we need really are the tunnel numbers, the ring numbers, the levels, the switch, and the net revenue. So let's come into these attributes, and everything we need, I'm gonna put it in this value. So the cost, I like this narrow switch, the grade I want, the volume I want, density I want, the tons I want. Where are the tons? Here they are. And then I want the level, the tunnels. tunnel numbers and the ring numbers. Tunnel numbers, the ring numbers, the levels. So let's look at that. We have levels, ring numbers, tunnel number, tons, cost, gross revenue, net revenue, switch, grade, volume, density. Okay. Everything else I'm going to delete off of this. And hopefully that will speed us up a little bit and save us some time. Hit OK. Now when you click on one of these, it's a lot. It got rid of a lot of data there. And here's our switch right here. The switch I want up at the top. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back into these attributes, find the switch, and I'm just going to rename the group to 01 switch. And therefore, it'll come up here and it'll be right at the top. I'll have easy access to it. Okay, so now when we hit the refresh button, does that speed this up at all? No, it doesn't. So it wasn't even worth our time. I don't know why that takes so long. And just make sure it did not take that the sorting, so make sure we're always looking at the 560. So we're at 151,840. So I'm going to open up a spreadsheet, just a blank spreadsheet here, and I'm going to put it over here in my other window. You won't be able to see it, but I'm going to copy these. I'm going to paste it right here. No, it won't do that. There's no way to copy those. Thought there was. Nope, it's not copying it. So I'm just going to write it down. 154,847,004. So in my spreadsheet, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so this is what my spreadsheet looks like. We're on test 1 and we're at 154,847,004. Okay, just that number right here at number 1. Now we're going to test something and I'm going to put the value in number 2 and see if it goes up or down. So the first one I'm going to test is this right here. This looks really easy. We're going to change that to a 1. Hit the refresh button there. Hit the refresh button here. And then I'm going to type it in my spreadsheet over here once it's done refreshing. I watch this color of this button. So right now it's kind of a orange yellow. Once that button is gray, then I know it's done. The 560 says 155,748,368. Gotta do one more thing here. Okay, so I typed it in, so we can easily see that we made almost $1 million more. Another thing I can do is just say this minus this. It's a positive number. We made $900,000 just by adding that one ring. So let's try again. We added like 3 or 4 rings. Let's try and add all of those. But the problem is when we step down, we want it to step just one at a time. And therefore, we're going to have to take all of that waste to get up there. And there's different scenarios we could do. So maybe we do this one first, see if that makes money. And then maybe this one. Maybe we just do like one at a time. Maybe we just do this one and say, okay, we're going to have to take both of those. And then do another one. And do the next one and just keep going. So let's change those to ones. Refresh this. We're watching that bottom number right there, 155. We want that to go up to at least 156. There it goes. Okay, so 156, 428, 432. We made $600,000 adding all those rings in. So now let's do it again. See if we can get some more. Add those ones in. Why didn't I add the, oh, I guess I could, but let's try that. Here we go. We got 157, 413, 185. We added almost $1 million by adding those rings in. Okay, so now let's do it one more time. On this one, I might just try this because adding those two means that we have to add in all those, but this one doesn't. So let's add that one in. Refresh this one. Refresh that one. Yeah, it's always it's picking up 158, 212, 792. We added $800,000 right there in value by taking those rings. So now let's do these ones. We have to take out 3 wastes to get those 2 ore because you want it to step up just 1. Refresh that, refresh this one. Oh, you see that? We lost money. 157, 995, 143. We lost $200,000 by taking those rings. So now we have to undo what we did. Those were the rings right there. We're going to change those back to a 0. Refresh that. And refresh this. Yeah, you want to do it one by one, test one scenario at a time, and see if you're making more money or making less money. Yep, we're back to where we were. So you see that 158, 212, 792, that's where we're at. So I'm going to delete this one. We did not like that. We always want to be going up in value. This one right here, we might be able to do those ones. Because that would be a nice, you don't want to like step out for 1 ring and then step back in, step out for 1 ring, step back in. You want to do all of these. So let's switch all those to a 1. and refresh this. Now, there's one other thing I want to try which might help us out. And this is only in the new version of Deswik. I'm running 2020.3. I believe it's in this version, but we'll see. Hold on. So right here, 158,401,473. We've made money. Almost $200,000. Refresh that. So there you go. So there's something I want to try. Come into this attributes. Come to this net revenue. Weighted field. Here we go. We want to do the sum. See right here? This will sum up all of the net revenues when you click on them. So if you click on this one, it will have the net revenue right here of -67535. Now if I click on this one, it'll add the net revenues together. See? Net revenue sum. It's negative, so that one doesn't look good. Those are both positive. We're making 58,612. We add in the waste. Oh, it's still making money. So those ones we could turn on. Do you see how I did that? These ones right here. It's summing the net revenue. So we have 73. That's a negative. That's a negative. Positive. Oh, oops. That's negative. We don't want to take that one. Those are. I'm looking at this number right here. 43. Oh, those ones look good. We're making money on that one, so I'm going to turn that one on. And what about this one? Losing money. See, we lost $6,000. We don't want to take that one. So I think that looks pretty good. Let's come back to here. This is going to be a problem. When we draw our footwall drive, we're going to want to have a nice straight line right here. And this is going to cause some issues. So I'm thinking maybe, how much money is that? Yeah, it's not worth it. It's not a lot. So I might turn those off just to make sure the footwall is nice and smooth. So you get the idea of how to either make a dashboard right here where you can have the total revenue. If you wanted to put grade there and do a calculation with grade, and say, oh, I want my grade to stay above 4 grams per ton, you could do whatever sort of calculation that you want on here. And you understand how to do the switches. There's this cool little tool in the attributes that will sum up the revenue, which is very nice. Yeah, the other thing is if we just click on all these, we should get the same number that we're getting right here, and we do. So that's pretty nice. These ones we need to clean up some of this stuff on this level. So let's just hurry and clean that up. Those ones will probably be on. Yeah, we're gonna turn on all of these. All of those are gonna get turned on. Oh, those ones need to be turned on. Can't just have them floating out there. turn those on. There we go. So now let's look at this final product. Oh, can't have that. There's one kind of floating out there. That looks pretty good, except this is a huge step out. You can't have that. So let's make it one step at a time. There we go. Turn all those on. And probably want to turn all these on. And yeah, let's try that. There's still quite a big step out right there, but you get the idea of how this is going to work. You can either do net revenue, you could do grade, NSR, however you want to do that. But that is how you do the ring selection. There's a couple other things that I want to show you in this. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this 535 level just because you get the idea of what we're looking for. We're trying to maximize the net revenue by turning on and off rings. This right here, we may want to turn off some of these rings, and I would go through there and test that. But what I wanted to show you is once you get that done, now you're going to want to turn it like this and make sure the geometry rules are correct. So the mine that you work at, they might have some geometry rules saying, hey, look, you can't step out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rings. You can only step out 3 rings. It kind of depends on what the geotechnical constraints are, but how I would do that is I would add in one more here called tunnel number engineering. And how would we do this? So first we want the level. Or do we want the level? No. Yeah, I think we had it right. Okay, so first we do the switch. And so here we want, I guess we could turn level off. Let's do that. Okay. That's not a very good view. There we go. So there we go. We have tunnel number 115. These are the ones that are on. These are the ones that are off. And so you can step through these and make sure there's the two things you want to look for is overlap. You want to make sure there's enough overlap. There will be a geotechnical constraint that says you need at least 4 of these, or at least 2, or at least 10 overlap right here. You want plenty of overlap. The more overlap you have, the better. And the other thing is the step out. How many of these step out and how many of these step out? So you're going to go through those one by one and see if you need to add in some rings or lose some rings. And you're just going to do it the same way. Test it. Turn it on. See if it makes money. Turn it off. See which one has a greater value. Those all look pretty good. Those all look pretty good. This side has a little more than you want. At the mine that we did this at, the top level had an angle of repose of 55 degrees. So we had to make sure that everything was within this 55 degrees, and the other one was the overlap, making sure there was enough overlap, 10 meters right here. There were some rules on the overlap. So that is essentially how you do the ring selection. In the end, you'll get which rings you're going to take and which rings you're going to leave behind. And you should come up with something like this when you're done. all of these rings. So thank you for watching, and hopefully that helps you out and it gives you a good place to start on how to do a ring selection. Thanks. Have a great day.